Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out Internet Computer's price chart and see what is happening in the short term. But before we get into all that good stuff, I was actually reading this self-writing internet manifesto, which in case that you haven't read it, I would highly suggest to give it a read. You are not going to regret it. And for me, I was actually specifically reading this part of the manifesto, and I thought about what at the moment, at least a lot of analysts are saying about the next couple of years. They are saying that we are going to have probably double digits inflation in most of the world. Now, in my opinion, most analysts and commentators are actually laser focused on the usual suspects, which are in this case, for example, monetary policy, maybe supply chain shocks, maybe energy prices. I would actually say mostly energy prices. And to a degree, they are also talking about geopolitical instability, you name it all. But here is the situation. You see, in my view, a lot of them are actually missing one very important key variable in their models. It is a wild card that could potentially flip the whole narrative, and it is called, you probably heard of it, productivity miracle. Now, I know this sounds a bit dramatic, but it's not actually some sci-fi fantasy. No, you see, productivity miracle is a real economic force, and it is referring to when technology all of a sudden boosts output without really needing more input. And when that happens, it's actually deflationary, meaning what? The prices are going to go down, not up. Efficiency wins, everybody benefits in this scenario. So what could trigger this miracle potentially? You see, in my view, that might be where the self-writing internet manifesto, specifically this part of it, can come in clutch. You see, this is not just a cool name. It's actually a concept that is starting to gain traction thanks to Caffeine AI, and it is basically the idea that generative tech / AI, autonomous software, self-building platforms can reshape how we build and use the internet. Instead of, for example, hiring dev teams, maybe waiting months and potentially even burning a lot of cash, you can just simply describe what you want to Caffeine AI and the system builds it for you. Booking portals for small businesses, no problem, done. CRM or ERP system for startups, you would get that instantly. Hyperlocal social networks for extended family, why not? You will get that in a minute. And Caffeine AI, I promise you, is able to do a whole lot more than that. These are just simple examples. Now, this is not just about convenience. It's very important to understand that. It is also about massive productivity gains. And for example, in here, we are talking about number one, routine tasks getting automated, freeing up time and labor. Number two, we are talking about software development speeding up with AI generated code. Number three, we are talking about non-tech users be finally able to build applications with no code tools. And finally, last but not least, we are talking about business processes like, for example, logistics and even to a degree customer management getting very much streamlined. And when productivity goes up like that, here is what is going to happen next. Number one, you're gonna have production costs drop big time. Number two, you're gonna have supply becoming more elastic. Number three, you are hopefully going to have prices starting to fall, or maybe in combating with inflationary forces, we are going to have either like a moderate amount of inflation, maybe like 2, 3, 4%, or potentially even if you are lucky, no inflation at all. And finally, with productivity going up big time like that, we are going to have innovation spreading faster, pushing competition and efficiency even further and further. Now, of course, I don't really expect that Caffeine AI is going to be absolutely perfect and fantastic from the beginning, and all of a sudden we are going to have a productivity miracle. Absolutely not. This is going to take some time. Let's not get that twisted. However, in my view, we are definitely on the right direction, and if adoption spreads fast and wide, and if the tools are going to stay accessible, which seems like that they are on the right track for that, okay, I think we could see a real shift in economic landscape. And here is my final point. Because of this self-writing internet vision becoming reality, again, thanks to Caffeine AI, ICP is actually one of the very rare few infrastructures built to handle all that adoption. You see, it's very important to understand that ICP is not just a simple blockchain. No, it is a full stack decentralized compute layer, and it is designed to host applications, manage data, and scale autonomously. So as adoption grows, demand for ICP grows, and when demand grows, guess what? Price definitely is going to follow. So this, my friends, is why I am so bullish and optimistic about the future of internet computer and also Caffeine AI. And I do think we are going to have, with the help of Caffeine, a huge productivity miracle, which will be one very key deflationary force that is going to help the whole world keeping their standards of living. So overall, very much bullish and promising outlook. And now let's go on the live chart and see what is happening in the short term. And I'm going to argue what we pretty much expected unfortunately played out. Why? If you remember, the last time that we talked about internet computer, we were actually around the highs, and the idea was that we are having a 5-wave impulsive structure up in here, which can be an optimistic sign indicating maybe in ICP, you know what, we have hit our final low. However, I said you need to be a bit patient and careful. Why? Two very important reasons. Number one was the fact that in here we were actually able to identify, as opposed to a 5-wave, a beautiful ABC zigzag, and to us that opened the door to having an ABC expanded flat, which looks like this. This is our initial move up into a correction for wave B, which in it we're going to take this initial low and a very strong move up into our C leg. And in it, as you can see, we are absolutely going to take the height of our wave A, and in terms of the subwaves, ABC up into A, ABC down into B, and guess what? A very beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave impulsive structure on the upside into our C leg. And as you can see in this scenario of the lowest low, what do you have? Yup, a 5-wave up, which could potentially trick you into believing, you know what, maybe we are bullish and the final low is already in. But again, if you pay attention to the previous moves, maybe there are going to be some hidden clues here and there. Now, let's go on the live chart and see what happened and what we pretty much expected. This was overall an ABC in form of an expanded flat, and we said you are most likely going to see soon a decent move on the downside. And this is the second reason for why I said let's be a bit patient and careful, because this move up actually happened way too fast, and as a result of it, I believe it was in H1 time frame that we created a very clear gap all the way down here about $5 area. So I said makes sense to think about this move continuing quite a bit, and in it, if we take this low, it's not going to be necessarily an optimistic sign, and unfortunately we have taken the lows. Now, what is going on at the moment? You see, we can come up with many different possibilities, but I'm actually thinking that we are probably having in here an ABC flat structure, and this is, I think we can all agree, a beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down, and maybe the current move up is going to be a corrective movement, suggests on a higher degree in ICP we may have one ABC flat into wave 2, decent move down into wave 3, correction for 4, another move on the downside into wave 5. Can we have some other caps? Yes, for example, you can say maybe we are having in here, I don't know, let's say 5 down into A, correction for wave B, another move down into our C leg, and overall and on a higher degree, I'm not sure, let's say this is going to be like a WXY in form of a flat and a zigzag, and the final low in internet computer is already yet. Do not get me wrong, this scenario can absolutely happen. However, it's not actually the main point of today's update. Why is that? Because I honestly do not really care if ICP goes down once more and takes the lowest low down here. Why? Because I think overall the downsides are actually quite limited, and odds are this whole move is a correction structure, and after it's over, or maybe it's over already, we're gonna have another very strong phase of the bull run. I think for now at least I am actually confident about this count playing out in the midterm. Now, what really mattered from my POV was this. You see, in the recent phase down in internet computer, as you can see, we actually took this important slowdown here. And why is this important? Because the idea back in the previous videos was that we are having a beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up followed by a correction down. So, you know, maybe This is wave 1, correction for 2, and then we're gonna have a big move up into wave 3, 4, 5. And since we took the lows, then okay, we really cannot talk about this scenario anymore, which is the main point. You see, I am actually a little bit sad in ICP because now I'm going to argue that building a bullish setup once more, unfortunately, is going to take some time. For example, how long did it take for us to have this move from this point to about, let's say, even here and not the lowest low? Let's just measure it from here to around this area. There we go. This whole supposedly bullish setup took us about 20 days. So I'm going to argue, if you want to be bullish in ICP, then okay, what do we want to see? You probably know it in case that you are a regular viewer of the channel. 5 wave on the upside and followed by that a consolidation pattern, a correction structure down, generally a very slow and choppy move on the downside, which between our pullbacks, you have to be able to find overlapping of the waves. And this is the main message of today's update. Trust me, building this setup is going to probably take a couple of weeks, and that is going to be really, really annoying. And probably it is going to shake a lot of investors out of their trades. And even if you are like a midterm investor, this is going to really go on your nerve. I promise you that, because I have been in these situations way too many times. So what should we do? I think at the moment, if you truly do not care about what is going to happen in the next couple of weeks in internet computer, then okay, you shouldn't even look what is going on right now on the live chart, and maybe just close your portfolio and come back a couple of weeks later. On the other hand, if you do care about what is happening in the very, very short term, well, unfortunately, I don't really have good news for you. I think you need to be patient and careful. And sure, we may effectively immediately get a very strong bounce in order to take all the highs. But after that, please remember, nothing goes up or down in a straight line. Hence why I'm going to say we are going to get a pullback. And in here, assuming that we are able to identify all the right subwaves, fair enough, this can be a long opportunity. But until then, we're gonna have most likely some boring price action. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in internet computers chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.